Tycoon Tales. Raw stories of struggle and sacrifice before achieving success.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to Tycoon Tales. I'm your host, Jenna, and today we have Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship President and Founder, David Feldman. Welcome, David. I'm so excited to have you back on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jenna. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, we are going to dive right in. Today, a little bit of a different concept than the last time we spoke. We are going to get real about the struggles and sacrifices that you endured on your way to developing BKFC.
Yeah.
So diving right in, let's start from the beginning. What made you want to start your own promotion?
You know, I've done promotions in the past. I did boxing and mixed martial arts. I own different businesses. You know, it's just kind of everything that I've always. I think I have a hard time working for someone else, to be honest. So, but while I was doing boxing and MMA, I really wanted to do something really big and really special. And I knew in boxing and MMA, without someone coming in and giving me, a couple $100 million, it was going to be hard to really do that. So I said, let me start my own lane. And I started bare knuckle fighting. I knew that the public could really relate to this, right? Like every man, woman, child, black, white, Chinese, doesn't matter how old you are, you know what a bare knuckle punch is. You just do. So it's very relatable to the average person. And that's really what I wanted to do. And I just wanted to create something special and give fighters a different opportunity. Also, just create my own lane where it wasn't contaminated by people that were doing the wrong thing and that they do in boxing and MMA. And just kind of set my own rule set and see how I'm going to treat the guys a little bit differently. And I was able to do that. And, we're in a great spot now.
So you launched in 2018, but when did you start developing this concept? How many years did you put into this before it came to fruition?
2009, I started to think about it. In 2011, I did a small event on a native casino in Scottsdale, Arizona, called the Fort McDowell Casino, and it did 700,000 views, and so many views that the paywall actually broke on the site that I was on. But I was like, wow, man, this is unbelievable. Everybody loves what I'm doing here. So let's just do this. This is going to be easy. I'm going to make millions of dollars. I'm going to change everybody's life. And then I went around state to state and I'm like, no, 28 times, 28 states over the next 7 years said no to me. But I just knew because I did these underground fights where people weren't really allowed to go, but I did it for people like Rolling Stone magazine, Men's Journal. They did stories on us. So I did it just to keep people interested. And every time anyone ever watched it, they were like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And finally I met, a regulator named Brian Pedersen out of Wyoming. He gave me a shot, June 2nd, 2018. And, as they say, the rest is history.
Wow. Okay. So incredible story. We're going to get into some of the details. What I really want to do on Tycoon Tales is give budding entrepreneurs some inspiration, because I know, that famous infographic where you see the iceberg and you see success above water, but then there's all this crap that went on underneath. I want to expose what goes on underneath, because even for me, seeing that you can do it is inspiring for me to do it, just to show that it's possible. So what was your financial situation like going into it? So it took you, it sounds like 9 years to get this thing funded. Were you making like financial sacrifices? Were you working at the same time? What were you doing to bring money in? How did it go?
I just hustled. I did everything I had to do. I did different events. I did a lot of different things. I owned a little food festival company. I did a lot of things, anything I had to do really to put food on the table. But at the end of the day, I was funding this thing the whole way just to get people to be interested in it. And then I did meet somebody that was interested in coming in on board with me a little bit, and he did for the first few events. And then, it outgrew him. And then, so we're struggling to get the next event going. What people don't really see is the struggle, right? They don't see the struggles behind someone's success. And it's, people tell me like, I had a dream to bring bare knuckle fighting to the world and to have everybody watch it and to make it one of the fastest growing combat sports in the world, right? And that dream is happening, but they don't know all the nightmares that went along with that dream, right? And all the sleepless nights and all the stress and everything that you go through, because you know what? They're not supposed to, though, right? Like, they're supposed to see the beautiful, shiny apple. That's what I say. Like, they're supposed to see the beautiful, shiny apple and say, wow, look at that apple. And it tastes so good and it looks so good. But they don't see everything that we had to do to make that, grow that apple and make it the way that it was. But at the end of the day, it's really like you have to have something inside of you that, you know what you want. And you're not going to let anything stop you from getting what you want. You're just not. And I don't mean you're going to do things you shouldn't do, meaning you're not going to screw people over. You're not going to rob. You're not going to do anything like that. But you're going to do what it takes because you have a belief in your passion and you have true passion. And because of that, you won't let anything stop you, and nothing can stop me. Like, I won't quit. Meaning, I said this yesterday when I was talking to someone, there's a chance we could go bankrupt at any time, run this thing. We're trying to grow it so big, and you don't know if we don't get the right funding, anything can happen, but I'll never quit. I mean, I'm going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until that last drop or that last thing happens. But I don't think that's going to happen because we've got sensational things happening for us next year and real big guys that want to get involved. And it's just been an unbelievable journey. But, I was talking about this yesterday too. Like, if you want to get motivated, be around motivated people. If you want to be successful, be around successful people. And I don't mean successful people like they're making millions of dollars. It doesn't have to be that. It means that they set a goal that day and they're establishing their goal, right? Like, I even said on this the other day too, like, they could be a married couple, right? If you're a married couple and you want to have a great marriage, hang around people that have happy marriages. If you hang around people that are miserable, you're not going to have a happy marriage. You're just not. So hang around the people that, are going to rub off on you. And I say it like this, like, if you hang around crap, right, and you leave the crap, you left the crap, but you're still going to smell like crap. Like, you don't want to hang around that kind of stuff. Hang around the people that are going to inspire you to be the best you can be, that are going to make you want to smile, right? Like, smiling is unbelievable. It's beautiful. Smile, be happy. And then success comes, but success only comes if you have an attitude inside of you that says that there's nothing that I'll ever do in this world that will stop me.
Okay, so I love that. And you've covered a lot that we're actually going to go back into. Where does the average person on the street find that positive energy, that sort of person to look up to, that role model,
Through failures. Really, you do. It's through failures, because Michael Jordan said it the best. He said, I failed over and over and over and over again, and that's why I succeed. It's through failures. I mean, for me, it was through failure. It was through failing and failing and failing and saying, man, I'm not going to fail again. Like, that was the last time I'm going to fail. I'm not going to fail. I learned from my mistakes. I think the big thing is a lot of people make mistakes and then they go and they make the same mistake and then they make the same mistake and they're just not learning from it. Like, you have to learn from your mistake, but you have to accept your failures and learn from them. Like, that's the biggest thing. You have to accept your failures and learn from them. And if you can learn from your failures, then, you can succeed at anything you do in life. You really, really can. It sounds like it's, cliche, and it sounds like, yeah, if you do anything, no one can tell you won't. But at the end of the day, if you really do have a vision and, if you have balls, it's over. No one can stop you. They can't, because they're not going to tell you that, you can. I've had thousands of people. I have people now telling me, like, I look back. What I do is I look back on old posts and I look back on old, write-ups and things like that, just because I want to know how far we've grown. And it's unbelievable. Everybody thought we were failing for the first 3 years. Not one person thought we were succeeding. They all said, it's a flash in the pan. It's not going to last. Okay, maybe it'll last, but it's going to be a small time promotion. Like, nobody ever saw the vision, and they didn't have to. Why? Because I saw it and I knew where it was going to be. And I'm not saying we're the biggest thing in the world, but, people are comparing us to the biggest combat sports promotions in the world. And we have a team of 18 employees. UFC has 700 employees. These companies have so many employees. We don't. and we just find a way, and we grind and grind and grind until it happens.
I cannot believe you only have 18 employees. That's insanity.
I mean, fight day, it obviously grows, but I mean, as a full-time employees, that's what it is. We're growing more and more. This year, we're going to probably hire another 15. But to get to this point, for the first 3 years, and people mentioned us all over the world, for the first 3 years, we had 4 full-time employees, and we were doing the job that these big companies were doing, and it was just incredible.
So the full-time employees, were they getting paid adequately? Was it a comfortable environment for them? Were they grinding just as hard as you were grinding? Did they get equity? What did it look like for them?
Yeah, they didn't get paid. They got equity. They believed in it with us. They got small slices of equity, all of them. And then, maybe 2.5 years in, they started getting some payments, and it wasn't paid adequately. And they're not paid adequately now. They're paid as much and pay them, but we keep giving them more and more equity because they believe in it and we believe in them. And, everything's about to change here in the next 2 months. We have huge deals that we're signing in the next, 3 to 5 weeks, and it's just going to change everybody's life. And, I like to always say, what's your why, right? Like, why are you doing this? Why do you have that fire inside of you, right? Mine is just, I want to change everybody's life that helped me out. That's a part of this team and a part of growing. And that bleeds for me, that goes out there and punches people in the face and gets punched in the face, that writes about us, that does, spreads our word. I want to change everybody's life. And that's my why. And that's why I work so hard, because, I had a tough upbringing when I was a child, and I want to make sure that, the people that are with me, their children don't have to go through that.
I saw a post about your mom. Would you say that she's your biggest inspiration?
100%. I mean, she truly is. We have a great support system at home as well. But my wife, my mom was, so I'll tell you a little background on my mom. My mom was, she was beat up to a point where she was thrown out of a car and run over. She was left as a quadriplegic, so she had no use of her arms or legs. And in that time, she went into the Paralympics. She wrote poems that were published in magazines. She went to college. But the most impressive thing is she painted these beautiful pictures with a paintbrush in her mouth. It was just unbelievable. Like, in her mouth. Unbelievable. And that's absolutely my inspiration. I can say, oh, this guy's talking shit on me, or this guy's talking bad about me, and I'm just going to quit. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore. And then I'm like, what? Like, she went through all this and she did this, and I'm going to quit because someone's saying something bad about me? Like, get out of here, man. So it's a huge inspiration for me.
Wow. She sounds like such a badass. What an incredible woman. And I'm so sorry to hear that she went through that.
But she was like cool too, right? Like, she was, when I tell you paralyzed, like, her hands were like this. She couldn't really move. She could move her arms and legs a little bit like that. Her legs, she couldn't move at all. She was in this place called the Inglis House. It's called a home for incurables, people that, are never going to be able to walk or anything like that again. So she was in there. And then, she was like selling shots of whiskey out of her backpack, like taking numbers, like she was doing sports betting and all this kind of stuff in the, from that place. She was a badass. Like, when you said she was a badass, she was a true badass. Like, she never stopped anything and just always found a way. And that's really where I get it from, because I'm just always going to find a way. The one word that my friends use about me a lot is just I'm resourceful. I find a way all the time.
Well, I would imagine getting denied in 28 states and still thinking you have a viable concept. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's, it was tough. I mean, along the way, you said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then one of these magazines would say, hey, do you got any underground fights coming up? We'd like to do a story. And then I would do it. I actually fought in 2 of them where the fighters didn't show up. One of them was, I had Showtime 60-minute sports there, and one of the fighters didn't show up. So I ended up fighting. And it was just it was a crazy experience, but it's hard. It's hard when no one sees your vision. It is hard. It's hard, and they keep shutting down on it and closing the door in your face. And it's hard to find a motivation to keep going. But I just knew, like it was weird. I just knew. I knew that this was going to catch on as soon as someone saw it and let me do it the right way. It was going to catch on, and here it is.
Here it is. Wow. I'm so glad I brought you on the show. You are such an inspiration. Okay. So what sacrifices did you make throughout your journey? I know you said you were hustling to make ends meet and you really believed in your vision, but thinking back, I mean, some entrepreneurs that made it really big talk about like living out of their car or cutting out personal relationships because they had to stay focused or, taking multiple mortgages out on their homes just because they so believed in their vision. So what did that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I did things that I shouldn't have done, meaning like jeopardize my family's future. I did. I bet everything on it every time. I bet food on the table for my family. I bet our house 6 different times. I put everything up for it. I took loans out. I did everything I had to do to make this thing work. I risked my promoter's license. I was promoting boxing MMA and I was doing these underground fights just to get it going. So I risked our livelihood, but it's like risk versus reward, right? Like what's the reward going to be? And it's crazy that if you really believe in yourself, man, you can really find a way. And like I said, I bet everything on this, like every single thing, like literally. Yeah, I don't know if this is one of your questions, but if you want to get into my really low point was, I didn't have like a spell of depression. Like I wasn't like a depressed person. I had a bad day. I had a really bad day one day. I got turned down by another state. I actually got diagnosed with cancer again. I had $262 to my name. This is in 2016, so this isn't that far ago. $262 to my name. And I went to this bridge near me and I grabbed a hold of it and I started lifting one leg up and I was like, man, I saw my mom's like face and that painting that she made that she painted with her mouth. And I was like, man, I'm not doing this. And I pushed away crying. I went to my car. I made a video and I was like, I'll never be in this place again ever. And I'll only be, I'm going to grow, I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm never going to put my family in this position. No one's going to stop me and I'm going to be the biggest thing in the world. And I pushed away and I went there and I made that video and I watched that video probably, once a month now because, you get to low points and you need motivation. And I'm like, it was just unbelievable. That was probably the lowest point I've ever been to. So when you say with your wrist, I literally risked my life. I risked everything that I've had. I risked my sanity. I risked my stress levels. I risked everything. And, we were able to get to a great point through all the hard work and dedication that we had.
So was it worth it?
It's definitely worth it, but it's the struggle that people don't see and everything you're giving up, right? You're giving up, I love just sitting on the couch and watching a movie with my wife. Like that's probably my favorite time, right? And I don't get to do that a lot. And so you're giving it up for success on monetary, right? But this isn't monetary for me. So that's why I would say, have to answer your question and say, yeah, it's worth it because I want to leave a legacy. And above all, I really, truly do. And a lot of people, say this, but I just want to, I got the best team around. I got the best fighters around, loyal guys. And I just want to help everybody and change them, man. And I'm about to do that. I mean, I just did something I had a little Christmas party and I had 4 of my top guys over and I gave them things that I told them, I said, I'm going to change your life. And I gave them, options in our company that absolutely just completely changed their life. And I was like, man, that's the happiest I've been in years. It was just it was an amazing feeling. And that's why I have to say, yeah, it's definitely the struggle has been worth it, to get to this point. We haven't really even begun.
So do you think you're going to stay in the game as long as possible? Or at some point, once you feel like bare knuckle is where you're comfortable, you'll appoint someone else and step down so you can be with your family more?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll always be involved at some point, but I definitely don't want to be knee deep in it like I am every day. I give myself about probably 3 more years in this. And then I'm going to, no, I'm not stepping down, but then I'm going to bring somebody else in to help run this thing with me. And then, I can go to select events and spend more time because the end of the day is what really is the most valuable thing in the whole entire world? Time. And if you can't get time back, that's a problem. So I want to make sure that I spend my time wisely. And I know I'm doing it wisely. I'm leaving a legacy. I'm changing people's lives, but I also want to make sure I'm happy and my family's happy too.
Mm-hmm. So that statement you made about time being the most valuable thing in the world, I think that that's a statement that once you've reached a certain level of success, proves true. But for the folks who haven't made it and are grinding every day, I don't know that they feel that time is the most valuable. I think they're sitting there thinking, what can I do to get myself to that point? What advice do you have for those people?
Look, I know it seems like an insurmountable challenge to a lot of people because, it just seems so far fetched in some of our dreams and our ideas that we have. But I always say this, I say it like this, like you can really do anything you want to do in this world if you try hard enough. If it's reasonable. Look, if you have this unreasonable dream that you're going to make cars fly right now, you're probably not going to make cars fly, right? But if you have something that's within reach and you can get there, you're going to find a way. And it's just, there's so many times where you think that you just never going to get there and you have to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and you do. But at the end of the day, you always have to take time for yourself, because you don't take time for yourself or your family, nothing else really matters. And I mean, I lived it. I live it every day. Like I do have regrets. I have regrets that I didn't see this happen, or that happen, or this part of my life wasn't there because I was working so hard. And, people go, man, you're the hardest working guy around. And I'm like, yeah, I'd rather be the happiest guy around. Right. And I'm turning that around a lot. Like I really have been, in this past year, I've been really focusing on my mindset a lot and to have the most positive mindset that I could possibly have, and, to enrich people around me and try to make them have positive mindsets as well. And I think, that's really kind of how this year, 2023 has come for me. And I'm just looking forward to keep pushing that forward in 2024.
So let's talk about mindset. Are you reading books? Are you finding inspiration on social media? What are you doing to stay focused?
Yeah, I talk to someone once a week. She's been with me for a while, and it was like, I thought you were weak. When I first started this, I was like, man, I don't need no help. I'm not talking to nobody. You get a unbiased opinion. So you get to bounce ideas off someone that doesn't have a horse in the race with you. Right. And that's so valuable. And I never knew it. And that really is it. And really, I, through the stress, you get mad, you get angry, you do things you shouldn't do, like, throw stuff against a wall and, stuff like that typical guys do. And it's something I never wanted to do. And I never want to do. And I really, truly just want to be the best father I can be, and I want to be the best husband I can be. And if I hit those two things, everything else is gonna fall in stride, because I know I do work hard enough, and I know that I have all the passion in the world. But now let me focus on the things that are going to matter when and if everybody in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship left and it folded. And it's funny because I tell people, like, this guy said something or this guy said something. And I go, guys, listen to me, man. If this thing folds tomorrow, those guys are going to be the first guy that's going to, say that you're a failure, that you're a loser, right? So I want to make sure that I'm given to the people that are going to be with me if the bottom does happen to fall out someday, right? Not the people that are just with me as we're climbing up to the top. Those people, they're a dime a dozen. But the people that have your back and, if you fall on your face, they're going to help you get up. Those are the people that you want to make sure you're there for.
And I have a question about your perspective on people now, because as you grow, there becomes a shift in how people regard you. And I think when you reach a level of success, you start to view people treating you differently because you now have something that they can benefit from, whether it's even just knowing you, being able to, come to your events, having proximity to you, right? So having experienced a shift of doors closing in your face to now everybody wanting a piece of you, what does that what have you learned about human nature?
It just, people want to be around you for the ride up. And I see that every day now. Like some of these messages I get, I mean, listen, I get hit, I don't know, 100, 200 DMs a day now. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like, oh, you're this and you're that and you're this and you're that. And I wasn't this or that before I did this. So you can, you don't have to hit me up. And there's some people though that are going to help, get to the next level, and you do have to give them the time of day, right? But at the end of the day, it's like I'll just say two things I live by. It's never forget where you came from. That's number one. And number two is I always tell my team, because they say, should I do this or should I do that? And I go, well, listen, what's the right thing to do? And they go, well, this, but we might not make as much money. I said, forget that. What's the right thing to do? What's the right thing to do? I said, guys, just do the right thing. Do the right thing. If you do the right thing, it always works out for you. It really does. And it doesn't seem like it does because, listen, if you did the wrong thing a little bit, you'd get this much more money. But there's no longevity in it. If you do the right thing, there's longevity in it. And that's really the two things I live by is like never really forget where you came from. Never forget who you are. I mean, do you know how many people come up to me and they go, dude, I can't believe I'm talking to you. Like, you're so humble. And this is all. I said, what do I have not to be humble about? I started a fight promotion. Like I didn't cure cancer. Like I started a fight promotion, right? Like if I can't talk to you, then who am I, right? Mm-hmm. So never forget where you come from and do the right thing. Just do the right thing. Whatever you think is right, do it.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay. What is the key ingredient of success?
Probably two, I would say. It's never give up. Like never quit. Don't quit. All right. That's one of the biggest things that I can ever say, because if you quit, you never know if you would have got there or not. Be patient. Patience is you want everything to happen today.
Yes.
Right. And sometimes it takes a few days. So patience and don't quit. That's it. If you have patience and you don't quit, it's going to be hard really to for anyone to stop you.
Did you have anyone mentoring you? And before you answer that, I want to preface it with this information I read. The most successful people are the people who have a mentor, wrote their goals down, and have that mentor holding them accountable on some consistent basis. The second group of most successful people are people who just wrote their goals down. And then the third group, or the least successful, are the people who just have their goals in their mind. So does this ring true to you? And did you have somebody keeping you in line?
I mean, I do now, but I didn't. I do now. And he definitely keeps me in line. And, he's like, he's the same way as me to do the right thing. That's not the right thing to do. Let's not do it. But I think up until a year and a half ago when I met him, it was really just keeping my goals in my head. But I had a different reason. Like I had a different why back. Like I don't want to get into this now because it's just going to take too long, but I had like a really messed up childhood. Like I've been through stuff that nobody, people, I should be in jail. I should have killed somebody. I should have got killed. I should have been a drug addict. Like I've been through things in life, and I never did drugs ever. Not really a drinker, but I been through so much in life that I shouldn't be where I'm at. And that's my bigger why. And that's why I don't need to really write it down as much. And I don't have to have someone telling me if I'm doing wrong or right. I know if I'm doing wrong or right. I really do. And I know what I need to do to keep doing the right thing. And don't cheat yourself, right? Like a lot of people will take the shortcut out, and the shortcut isn't always the fastest way, man. It's just not. But I have a different thing that burns inside of me, and it burns inside of me on a bad way a lot too, but it also burns inside of me on a good way. And that's also why, I'm trying to be the best person I can be this year too, because I'm trying to get rid of those demons that I have inside of me from when I was young and turn that around into all positivity.
What does it look like when the demons come out?
You don't want to be around me.
Mm-hmm. Bad temper?
Yeah, you don't want to be around me.
Okay.
You just
How
don't,
do you,
you don't want to be around me. You know, I don't want to get into it. It's just because it's so personal to me, but I will tell you that you just don't want to be around that guy. You don't.
Mhm.
And he's a bad guy. He's not a bad person, but he's a bad guy. You don't want to be around the bad guy.
Well, it's great to see the self-awareness and that you're working on yourself. And, even from our first chat a little over a year ago, uh, I, I don't know. I don't know you well enough to say, oh, I see the growth, but I appreciate you opening up in this way and allowing us to get to know you and your journey. It's really inspiring, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah. So BKFC is coming to California. Congrats. And my good friend Andy Foster, when I told him that you were coming on the show, I was like, hey, do you have a quote? You have something you want me to share with Dave? And he said, sure. So he said, BKFC is a different sport that in 2018, I guess that launched in 2018, including having ABC unified rules. We look forward to regulating an event in California in the second quarter of 2020.
You know, and that's where it goes. It's like, keep pushing, right? Andy Foster is such a good dude. And I didn't know that because he came on a show with me on ESPN and he said, it's a de-evolution of combat sports and it's this and it's that and it's that. And never sanction it. And then I get to know the guy and I'm like, you're not a bad guy. You were just going off perception. So what I say also about life is, and what I do here is perception. Like people let perception change their mind on everything because perception is reality in a way, but in a way it's not. Like they perceive something a certain way, so they set their mind to believe that's the real way, and that's what it is, right? Like they perceive to say this bare knuckle fighting is a backyard street fight, and it's brutal, and they don't use great fighters, and then they watch it and they're like, "Wow, that was unbelievable," right?
Yeah.
Like the guy next door, like you might be like, "Oh, that guy, hey, he's no good. I don't like that guy just because he doesn't say hello." And maybe he's battling a thing of depression. You don't know. So your perception is telling you he's not a good guy, but you didn't give him a chance. What I'm just saying is what the whole moral of this story is. And what I'm saying now is just give something a chance. Give that person a chance. Give that idea a chance. And if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. But if you didn't give it a chance, you don't know if you like it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we spoke, you got a boatload of money during the Triller acquisition. And you were opting to take care of your people versus you alone. I remember that about you, having a big heart, which is consistent with everything you've shared today. So what changes have we seen since that acquisition?
You know, we actually weren't able to finish the whole deal yet because some things had happened. So we didn't get the boatload of money yet. We got some help from them. They're great partners. It's just we both ran into some speed bumps, so we actually didn't get that. So that's why I said, like, I was able to do this with options and different things for the guys. But it's coming in the next 2 months. It's coming, and then we're going to see some big changes. We're probably going to buy a real nice building, have a BKFC headquarters here in Pennsylvania where it's going to be legal here any day. So we'll be able to do something out here. We already have a small office in LA and in Miami. So it's just really I want to just take care of the guys and show them my thank you. And in the way that I really know how to do it for these guys that I want to do. And it's going to make all the difference in the world because these guys and girls, they work hard. They bleed for me. You know, they work endless hours for me and they don't complain and they need to be rewarded.
I love that. They're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Okay. You talk about major things coming. Can we get some spoilers? Can we, what's going on?
We're going to announce it tomorrow. I got a big partnership coming up with one of the biggest combat sports guys in the world. That's going to be huge. Doing something in the Middle East. That's going to probably be about 2 or 3 days away. We're going to announce something huge there, but we don't have, I can't announce it until I can't put the cart ahead of the horse. And we got a verbal yes for a TV deal that we're working on. Now we're just working through the term sheet right now. So 3 major things that are really, really going to change the game for us. And I just can't wait because I need to take that little bit of stress off my shoulders right now because it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. Okay. I am curious, what is your relationship like with Dana White?
It's funny because I met Hunter Campbell, who's his right hand man in California when I got legal, and we just hit it off. We were good. I think my relationship with Dana White is good, and I think I'm actually going to have a meeting with him coming up, and we're going to talk a little bit. And I respect what he did, and some people say he does this, he does that, he doesn't do this right. The guy took a company, he bought it for $2 million, $48 million in the hole, and turned it into a $4.4 billion exit. So he did something right, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know him personally. Like, I don't really know him. I'm going to get to know him, but I got nothing but respect for the guy. I really have nothing but respect for him. I mean, as a businessman, I got nothing but respect for him.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, David Feldman. Any final words of advice to budding entrepreneurs, anyone looking to be like you, learn from you, start their own successful business? What are your thoughts?
It's really honestly just have focus. Like, don't lose focus. If you have a goal, stick to that goal. Really, though, the main thing is don't hang around negative people. They'll drain your soul from you. They'll drain every bit of anything that you have that you want to make it, whatever you're doing the best in the world, they'll drain it from you. Negative people are the worst, or worse than cancer. And I've had it. It's worse, man. Negative people will drain the blood out of you. Don't hang around negative people. Hang around people that encourage you to be the best that you can be. And really, that's like the best advice I can give. And you might not become the most successful entrepreneur in the world, but I guarantee you'll be a happy person.
I love that. And as you were speaking, that rings true through my experiences as well. Thank you, David Feldman, for coming on Tycoon Tales. You're wonderful. And I wish you all the success. We'll all be watching BKFC skyrocket this year.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.